Hello and welcome to Weather Journal app tutorial. In this video, we will build the Weather Journal app together. We will focus more on the implementation of the logic, and we will exclude any discussion for the front-end styling, as this is not the main objective of this task. So let's see together how the logic here work for Weather App Journal. I will write now a zip code to look for the weather in this zip code, and the default actually is US, so I don't have to write the country here in this API, but this is how the API actually works, the zip code API of the weather journal. So let's generate the results now, and as you see, this is the city that has this zip code, which is Camp Dennison, US, and the temperature right now is 37 degree and it's overcast cloud. This is a description of the weather, and this is the date of today, and even I can just like put here the hour. So this is a current weather, the current weather at this city. Now let's move on to, in this tutorial actually, let's move on to how can we implement this logic. How can we fetch an API like this and get results as the one that you see here, and the results will be displayed on our project. So now I got another zip code, and this is Chilo. Now let's put a falsy zip code, a wrong one. What will happen? Well, city not found. What if I didn't write any zip code at all? Great, so it's invalid zip code. So there is an HTTP request and a fetch function happen here, and it gets the information from a remote API. In this tutorial actually I'm gonna think about how can we implement this logic. And of course this is a project for Udacity. Actually it's not just like a normal project, it was just like asked by Udacity website. So we're gonna do it, and we will follow the rubric of Udacity of how to do this job and how to do this application, and get the mark or whatever, or pass the project criteria that they want. So follow up with me to make this awesome project. So this is the rubric actually we will follow to build the application, the Weather Journal app. And now let's go on directly to making the app. So now let's build the boilerplate for the project, and I'm gonna open the bash, and it's something that Git provides, and it's like a terminal. So I'm gonna write in the terminal a file that I have already made that makes my work easier, especially if I'm going to make a project like a simple one with HTML and CSS and app.js files. So it's called gen project.js, like that. And as you see, the project is made, and if we looked here, these are all the files that I need. So I will just rename it to make it just like website, because they actually called it as that in Udacity. And the only thing that we need more is a file that is called server.js, just like to launch the server. And now let's open the project with VS Code. Alright, so these are all the files that we need: a server and an index.html and app, where we will write all the script for the HTML file, and the style. Actually we will not go, as we said before, we will not go in the front end and the design and the style, because this is something that you're supposed to understand right now if you are going to make this project. But the thing that you may find trouble in making is actually the logic of how to fetch an API, and how to make a successful request, and how to get the data, and just like show it and display it in your HTML file, and all of that should happen like asynchronously and without any refresh to the page. So now let's write the server files, and we will use the Node.js at the backend for the server. Alright, so in the project rubric here, we actually, he is asking us to write a project dot or a project data object, put the project data, and we are going now to make the server. So to make the Node.js, actually we will not write like pure Node.js, we will write of course with a framework for the Node.js, which is Express. So we will make a const Express, and we will call the server require Express. This is not a core module. What is the meaning of this? Actually, we are working right now on Node, but to work on Node, actually we have to require some packages from the npm package and a modular package. It's not a core package for Node.js, so we need to install it from the npm manager, from the Node package manager. Now let's go and do that, but before we let us npm init, which will make for us a package.json, which is something that keep our packages in a place in order to tell any other server when this application is downloaded in any other server, the server gets informed about what are the dependencies we will use in this app and what is the main file for this app to open it and things like this. So it's just like instructions for any Node terminal to understand the application and how to run it. So let's go now and npm install Express, and we will also install another package called course, but we will not talk about it now, we will discuss it once we get to it. So now the packages will install, and let's now initiate an instance of the Express framework, which will be called the app. The app here is just like representing a constant that we will attach to all the ideology or all the syntax that we should write for an Express framework. So now it equals Express function. Now let's actually use something else that we will need later, which is we need a body parser now, something to parse the JSON files that is coming from the body to the server. So to enable just like getting information or response with an information coming from the body, from a form, about a contact form or something like this, we need a JSON parser. And how can we do that? How can we handle this information that is coming from the body? Well, this will happen actually by only one way. We need a body parser. There are two options for that. We can just like npm install. Wait a minute guys, I'll try to fix this and I'll come again. Alright, we have fixed the problem. Actually, I have put here a gs_hint_rc file which tells the Visual Studio Code that we are using the ES version, the latest one or whatever. So now let's continue. We will now parse the data. We have two options. We have the body parser to parse the data to the server, and we have something new which is in the Express itself. We can say express app.use, sorry. We have an internal function now in Express that you don't need an external body parser. The Express right now has a body parser. We will say app.use actually way to make a middleware. How is that? App.use actually is used to make a middleware function that actually is working between the request and the response, the request to the information and the response from the server to this information. So we will use app.use whenever we will make a middleware. The middleware here is actually will use Express .json. So by this way we will make a request that if whenever we have a JSON file, we can turn it into an object that we can understand and use in the server. And we will use another thing actually that is concerned more with the files that URL encoded. And we will make an option extended false. Now what is the meaning of this? It means that we will use an express URL encoded. This means that whenever you make a form, and this is especially for the forms, whenever you make a form and you send data from the body of this form, we will turn this information into an object that we can use in the server. But here I'm just like I'm defining that it will only be extended to false because I don't need the complicated things other than JSON or objects within objects. If something is complicated like that, like objects within objects, then this will not handle it, and we don't want to handle it because we are only handling simple information coming out of the body. And now let's use something very important, which is express.static. This actually, sorry, I forgot the app.use. What we will do with the express.static, actually this is for telling the Node.js which files you should run your application. What are the files? Where is the HTML? Where is the style? Where are the files that you need to run the project? And this tells the server, because this is a server, that the website here, website, it's called website. The website folder will be the main folder for our project. And even now we don't need an app.get/, for example, to get for the local host. He will go by this middleware to look for the first HTML he will find in website, and of course the index one, because he is looking at most and always he's looking at first for the default. The default name for HTML is index.html. So he will look for this file, and when he opens this file, if there are any link or script or something like this, he will just like make the other request for it. So now let's go back and save that too. So now we are using express.static website, and now we told the server which files to get your information from. Now let's move on to the next step, which is const course will equal or require course. What is the meaning of that now? This means that we need this package which we have pre-installed here to run something. What will we run with the course? Actually, the course is a cross-origin allowance. Well, the meaning of that actually is that this is a local server and it will only listen to files from the local files. So suppose that you get an image, or you try to get an image with the source /, for example, images. If you have a file called images and there is a e1.png image, well, this is same origin request. You are requesting the HTML file to get you a file called 1.png. It's an image, and he will request that from the local server. So you'll go to your file, to your files, and will get that thing from, and that thing will be here within the application. But what if you made a request for an image that actually is living here, for example? Now there is a problem. You are now asking the server, the Node.js server, to get a file from the external source. This is not the same actually. Here this is called a cross origin request. If you are making a cross origin request, you need allowance for that, and you need to send some credentials with your request. If you are using a server, if you are not using a server, then these things are actually embedded in these actually elements. These elements actually use the cross origin by default, so the HTML has handled that. But suppose that you are working from a server like we are doing right now, and you will run the project from a server like node server.js that will serve all your files. No, if you are dealing with the back end and with the server in the back end, you need a cross origin allowance. So let's get back now to our server. We will get it. So now we require the library. Will we leave it like this? No, we should use it. So now we will say app.use cores, and you must close them like this, because if you didn't, they will not work, because it's a function. It's like a function. Now the middleware.use is using like 4 things: a body parser or an express.json, which will parse the data coming from the HTML file, and the express.static to tell the server which files to use and from where, from which folder, and cores to make a cross-origin allowance to any external HTTP request. Now, is there any other thing that we need in the server? I think no. We are now good to go. So we should build here some routes, but first we need to go to the website itself and start building the HTML for the files. We don't need actually a fancy boilerplate or something. We will do something like normal, very, very normal, and we will call this weather journal application. In the body, we will write a very, very simple thing, which is about actually like maybe we will say inputs, and we will make another div for the outputs. So one of the divs will hold the inputs for us that we will give to the application, and the other one will hold the outputs that is coming out after the response. So let's make these inputs. The inputs will be very, very simple. All we need is 3 inputs. Sorry, we can make like yes, I will write input, and I'll make it like 2 inputs like this. Yes, so we have 2 inputs, and the first one will have a label for zip, because we need here a zip code. Okay, and now in the input it's type text, id zip, placeholder. I like Tubin. Actually, Tubin is an artificial intelligence library, and it reads your mind. It literally reads your mind and write whatever you want to write. Enter zip code. This is a placeholder. And now here, before the other input, we will make another label, and we will call it, so it's a label for feelings, I guess. The feelings are in the text area, so yes, okay. Alright, so I got it. No, we only need 1 input and 1 text area, because these are the only information asked by the project. If you want to add more, then it's very easy after you understand the logic here after we build it. So we need another label actually for feelings, because we will write the feelings. Whatever your feelings are, you must write it here in the application to make the application response with it. Now let's make the text area. The name of the text area is feelings, although we don't need a name because we don't have a real form. And here the ID is feelings. And in the output, I think we have something like, we need the date. So we need to get the date. So ID here will be date, and we will not write anything because we're supposed to write that from the DOM. And another paragraph that will have the ID of the let's say the temperature. Yes, so the temp, it will hold the temp, and the last one will actually be for the feelings. So you'll say feelings, and with the ID of feelings again, of course this will not be a feeling, right? So we will give it a class of feelings. I think a class of feelings will be fine. Okay, now let's go and write our app.js to manipulate this DOM. The DOM is very easy, as you see, and we will get a lot of information. We will put it here. So we have finished set up the server, we have finished set up the index.html. Now let's move on to make our app.js. So to start making or manipulating the DOM of our index.html, actually we forgot to put just one thing here in the inputs, which is the button that we will add the event listener to. And this button, once we click on, actually it will make an event listener, and that event listener should listen to what data we have entered here, because we will not just like press on this button unless we have written all this information, and we will click on it. So there will be a event fired, and when this event get fired, it will actually summon or call for the callback or the functions that we will do. Do not get rushed, because we will understand now how to make that. So the first thing is that we need to make the DOM elements. So I'll make a const generate. It will be document.query selector, and now it's an ID, so I'll say generate. Another const for what other inputs we have. Yes, so we need the date. So const date will equal, I'll make it just like d, will equal new, new date, and I'll get this new date. Const date will equal d dot to date string. By this way, my friends, I have made a date like the one we have seen in the project. So by this way I stringify the date and I make it like a string, and it just get translated into the DOM to just like to. Guys, there is something that I want to share with you. There is a dog here and his voice is so loud. He's barking in my head, you know. But we will have to bear it together because I can't get rid of this dog. I have two options: to go and kill this dog or to continue this tutorial. So we will actually listen to the beautiful dog, all of us here trying to explain to us something very deep from his emotions. Yeah, exactly. So here's the date is d.toDate string actually, and by this way we are making a date, a formal date without any other needs, because in Udacity, in the rubric actually, if we looked here, we will find that he is giving us a very strange way to make the date. I don't know, it's not here, it's actually in the files that they give you to support you and help you to make the project. But it's a very strange way. They are making it just like you have to get a function for the years and get a function for the months and get a function for the days. But to make a date, all what you have to do is that. It's that simple, nothing else. Well, so this is the date, the feelings, the zip code, the generate. We don't need any other Temperature, yeah. So we need something for the temperature here. So const temp will equal document.query selector temp. Okay, so now we are ready to launch our event listener, but first we need the API, which is the most important thing we have made this tutorial for. So now let's go. This is the website that Udacity is giving us to make the API from. Of course, you will make the boring things of subscribing to sign in, and they will send you the API, just a key. Now we will know how to handle this key. So if we come here, they are asking us to get or to fetch the data by the zip code. And here, if you looked on the left, you will find that this is the form through which you will write the zip code for, and through which you can fetch and get data from. So let's get this and put it here in something called base, or no, not base, example, because this is written like to give you an example of how you will manipulate the data. So this is the form that we will try to imitate to fetch the data. Now what we need: an API key, a country code, a zip code. But I'll tell you something, we don't need this because the default is US. So we don't need it, we will exclude it. Now all what we have to do to write actually is a zip code and the API key. So we will stop, just like, look, we will make like this, okay, and we will get this because this is we call it base URI. What is the meaning of this? This is the basic URI that we will add to any pitch we will make. So we will keep it here alone, separate, and now we will make a const for the zip is already here. We will get the value from this constant and we will put it here just like on caret. And here is the app ID or the app key. Let's get that from the website, and I have to go and see what's my API. This is my API actually. I'll get it here and I'll put it, so const key will equal, and I will stringify it like that. Now I have a key ready, and all what I have to do now is to go and make the function. So const generate dot add even listener, and now I want this even listener to get fired when I click. So, and now I'll build a function. Do I have to write a real or a normal function? Yeah, a normal function. Okay, but let's make it with the ES6 fascinating template and not with the old-fashioned function launch. I could make it like this. I could launch a function like this and make the brackets and make it like this, but no, we have used the other one, which is just like you see this new syntax of ES6. I don't know, I think this is just a little bit like a stereotype what I'm saying, but some people don't know. Who knows? So now let's prevent the default. What is the meaning of this? Preventing the default is actually just like, imagine that you have just like a form, and whenever you will click on the button of submit, it will submit the form. Suppose that you don't want the form to submit, you want to stop it and make it do something, and then you might make it submit, or you might even cancel it from submitting. So when you say event.prevent default, this means that you don't want this actually to submit the form. Now what we gonna do actually is just like this. We need to make a function, and this function, just like when you clicked, you are now asking this function to listen to what information you will give it when you click. So when we clicked, we suppose that we have given the HTML file, some values in the inputs. We suppose that we have entered the feelings and we have entered zip code, and now we are listening to that when we click. So what I have to do now is just like saying const made URI, and now you will tell what const made URI. Yeah, this is the URL that we will make from the inputs. Now to make you imagine that, I'll have to console.log these, and I will now launch the server. I forgot to make this server listen to when I make it. I'll make here a port to listen to the server. So it will be, for example, 8000, maybe 8008 or 9, whatever. And I'll go here and I will listen to the server on this port, and I'll write a little function. In this function, I'll make a console.log listening on port, and with the old way, we will write port. Okay, so now we have made the application listen. I think there is something wrong here. Are you sure of that? Alright. So yes, we're supposed to put this here. Okay, so now let's listen to the server. Yep, the server is listening. Allow access. Let's go here and test the server. Localhost 8008. So the server is running, the HTML boilerplate is running, and it's beautiful. I guess so. Now, I guess if I try to make any modification in the app.js, we will have a problem that the node server.js, I will have to stop the server like this, Ctrl C, and start again and launch the server again in every edit I make. So now instead of working on the node server.js, we will try to work on the node daemon server. This is actually just like a hot reload for the node server, so that you don't have to close and reopen the server each time you try to make a new edit. So it can be installed through npm package manager. So node server.js, node daemon server.js, and now we have the server up and running and everything is cool. And let's see our website. So yes, it is working here, and we have everything, and we will just like open the inspect here because we want to listen to the server. If anything will happen, it will show here. Let's go back now and start building the generate again. Now I want to make a URI. Once I click here, I wanted to get this and this information. How to do that? I'll just, so let's make the URI, const made URI. It will consist of the base URI plus what? Plus the zip, because it's asking me for the zip here. So I'll get what, and I can make it like this with the new templating ES6. So I'll say $base URI, and next to it I'll make the other thing, which is the zip. And after that, after the zip code, I'll have to make the key. But you know what? I have forgot something about the key, which is this one. I need to put it before the key, just like to resemble the example that we have. Only that, no, there is something that is required by Udacity reviews here. You're asking us to put something to the API key. Here it is. And units imperial. This will actually something related to the Fahrenheit and the Celsius uh, temperature units. So we have to put it just like to get it with Fahrenheit, not with the Celsius. And this is something that is common, that they measure the temperature by Fahrenheit in US, not like us. In the Middle East here we make it with the Celsius. Now everything is ready. I have to say just the word key. Let's now console the log this made URI. Once I click on the key, I'll get this information. So maybe one like this, and the feelings, I feel good. So we didn't get anything. Great. That's so great. We have the generate, we have the event listener. We clicked aha. So there is nothing here called E, it's event. Because the parameter or the argument, the parameter we have given is event. Let's go back here and try again. Still. Well, I discovered what is the problem here, is that we haven't summoned the file here. So we should just like summon the file of the app.js. So we will say app.js. Now like this. So we have the script now is running on our HTML, and I suppose now we can get the information from here. Require is not defined. Where? So the only thing that was wrong actually that I have left here a file called require express. I don't know when did I do that, but actually it's okay. So now let's put the information here and go here and do like that, and still we don't have it. Okay, I guess I didn't refresh. Aha, so now I have, like you see, a very long API, and there is like the zip code is not showing clearly. So yes, because I forgot to say zip.value. This is very, very cool. So now let's go back and let's try that again. Yes, so we now have a very, very successful or very rightful API. Now let's go and use this API to fetch the weather data and get the data from. So all we need now is a new function called get data, and we will give it what? We will give it the made URI that we have made here, and it's supposed to go and fetch these data asynchronously from the remote API and get us the results. So in this get data function, we will actually make it away from our generate, because we want to make something called in React a separation of concerns. This means that every function should do only one thing. So we will make only one function rather than a very long function, and this function will be a promise, and that promise, in each time it will fulfill or complete, it will call for another function to start, and this function that will start will take data and make something with it and return back another data. So let's see how this will be made. Now I'll make the const get data, but I will initialize it outside the application or the generate function. This is far better. And now I'll make it an async function. What will I give it? I'll give it not data, I'll give it a URL. And where is the URL? Here it is. So this is the argument that I have gave for this function, and the parameter supposed to be a URL. Does this mean that this word means a URL? No, this is just a parameter. It's a placeholder for this place. So it's not real. I can make it anything. I can make it called John, whatever. But just like something expressive that I will put in it a URL. Now let's make something with this URL. Our get data function to get the data, and all what we have to do here is try and catch. Now what is this? This is actually the way that we're gonna handle any asynchronous function. It doesn't have to always be try and catch. There are other ways for responding to a promise, like a dot then. This is another way actually to respond to data coming from an asynchronous function. An asynchronous function means a function that will wait for another thing to happen to get it succeed and return you some data. Now what do we need to wait here? Let's see. So if I said const maybe result from what? From await fetch the URL that we have taken here. So we will get this URL here, and this URL I will try to fetch it. Once I fetch it, it will get back with a JSON file. So the result will await while I finish fetching this file and getting or retrieving data. Then it will have a value, but it will never have a value if I didn't await. And now another const for the data, which will equal result.json. The data that is coming from this API, it will be called data, and it will be just like consist of the result.json. I make this to parse the data into an object. Now let's console.log the data, and here for the errors, if there is any error happened, so I will say console.log the error. Now let's see if I'm right or wrong. Well, here I made a promise actually, and as you see, the zip code that I have written is awful. So I'll try to make something real like this. Well, the promise is binding. This means that there is something wrong about our promise. Now let's see what's wrong. Yeah, I think I didn't return any data, and now if I didn't return any data, then this means that the function, the promise is binding, because it's supposed to return data at the end. So let's go back and make it again. The promise is binding again. Great. I'm a great instructor. So guys, this is very good actually, because there is something that we are missing here, and this is good for us because we are learning a new thing every time we mistake. I forgot to put here the HTTPS. That's why the server is telling me that it cannot find, not found, because look, localhost. It has put the HTTPS and it has put to it the localhost, because I did not say that clearly that it is an independent website. So if you didn't put these at the first, it will start your request starting from the localhost, because this is the nearest thing to the server. So if you did it like that, this will mean it's an HTTPS protocol and it needs to request from an external server. Now let's fetch the API and everything shall work okay. Let's make like this. 45111. It's a promise and it's pending. Promise state fulfilled. So why didn't it get me the job? Well, here's it. So the information is coming back, but it's just like it's putting it in a very strange way. But with time, I think it will get to be delivered correctly. So let's see what is the only thing that we need here to make the things happen. Aha, I guess I understand now what is the problem. I didn't put a weight here. So that's why the data was coming like an object that is not fulfilled yet. So now the data is awaiting the result.json. So it's supposed to, when we console.log it, it will have already finished getting the data it needs. So let's come here and test now. Yes, it's getting the data. These are the data that is coming from the open weather journal. What we're gonna do with this data? Actually, we only need from this data just a few things. We need the temperature that's here in the temp inside the main. And do we need anything else from here? No, Udacity didn't tell us to need anything else. If you want anything else, you can just get it. Here is the name of the city, and you can use this API to actually to get a lot of things. You can even put PNG images, just like here. This icon, if you rotate with after and with the I element on HTML, you can get an image for describing the weather and describing how is the weather scattered the clouds, and you will find in this icon an expressive image that express this description. However, we don't need all of that. We only need from here the temperature, and we're gonna use it. So the information that we got back is impressive. Now we do have to understand what should we do with it. Remember that we have two types of information that may come to us, good ones and bad ones. What if I wrote a wrong zip code like this? So the weather here said not found, and at the same time the server responded with something great. The open weather doesn't just like put an error. No, the fetch is actually successful because it returned an object even when I put a wrong zip code. So this is something that you have to take care of, because if there is nothing returned and the fetch failed, it would have come from the console.log error, and it would have showed me an error. But the catch did not catch anything actually here, and there is no console.log for anything. This, what you see, is not the console.log from the error. This is actually the data. So the data will come back in all the cases, even if I did not write anything I talk to the Open Weather API server, it will generate to me an object, and it has a code which is the server status or the response status, and a message. We need this message. So instead of just like returning directly the data here, I may say, after actually awaiting the fetch, and after maybe the result has come up or what, yes, I'll choose to move from here. If data.cod, because each time you will bring data, you will find that there is something called COD. So the COD is the response status. So if data.cod will equal 200, then I want to get this data here, and else if it's not .cod is not 200, then I want also to get back the data. By this way I am making, not the data, the data.message, just only this piece of information I need. So I will only get the data.message if there is no the API not found, the zip code not found, or something like that. So when I do like this, you see, I get the message. When I put the wrong zip code, I also get here a message. So this is from the server, we don't need it, but this is what we can manipulate and put it here for the client to see. So let's go back, and now everything is fine here. I should now do something with the returned value. This function returned a value, a data. The data may be a message, only a message, or maybe a huge data that I should take care of. Now what should I do now? Because get data is an asynchronous function, so it's a promise. So I can chain it with another promise. So I will use .then to promise the data that is returned from the server and make something with it. Now let's see what is that thing. Actually, that thing will be another function in which I will cure the data. What is the meaning of curing the data here? Means that I will take this data, but I will not give it all to the server. We only need one piece of information and some things here to send to the server, and the server will take this information, it will add it to a route, and we will try to fetch the information again from this route. Why we will do that? Because this is what we are asked to do in the Udacity reviews. Let's review what we have done and what we haven't done. Look, he said that Node and Express should be installed on the local machine. Well, yes, we have done this. We have installed Express and JSON. The course package, we have used the course package, the body parser, but nowadays we can use the express.json, so we don't need the body parser. The local server is running. Yes, it is running. Create an API credential. Yes, we have done that. Project data, we have put an endpoint that in which we will collect all the data from that is coming from the API, and we will put it to the server, but we will not get all the information that is coming from the API. No, we will just send some pieces of information that we can manipulate the DOM with. And now get the API from in open with your map. Yes, we did that. And here he wants me to return an endpoint. Before returning the endpoint, we're supposed to post the information that we get to the router and then get it back from it again. This is how the Udacity wants this to be done. So first we will cure the data. Just this is a one single objective function that I will make, and in this function I will just go here and start curing the data. How I will cure the data, let's see together. So cure data will equal, is this an asynchronous? Yeah, it's an asynchronous function. So in this asynchronous function, what will I will use the data, that is, this is the parameter here, and the parameter will respond to the argument that I have put above in the event listener. So now let's know what we will do. Now we will make a const info, a new one, a new object in which I will extract only some data from the API, and some data even from the values that will be brought here after I try to click some values like the feelings because I need it, and the date even because I need the date, because these are the outputs. I want now to tailor this info to be actually suitable for the outputs here, date and temperature and feelings. So let's do that. So const info will be a JSON file, like an object like this, and in that one I'll put date, and the date will equal The date will equal the new date, I guess. It's called new date, or what? Date. It's called just date. Yes, so it will be date. So I can write it like this. Now the feelings. What are the feelings? The feelings will equal the feelings ID dot value. Whatever I have written in the text area will be here. And now the last thing that I need is the temperature that is coming from the data. So the temperature will equal data dot main, because it was, if you remember, it was inside a main, and then data, or data, yeah, sorry, temp. Sorry for that. Yes, so now we have the three pieces of information that we need. Now console, I guess we can use the try thing. Yeah, we can use the try here. You will put all the information here inside it. And I have another thing, because we will send this to the server. We need it to be just like two edges. The first one, if data dot cod equal, sorry, I'll make a very easy one, data dot message. If data dot message do that, what is the meaning of that? If you find, because we agreed that the data that will come from the get data here will be one of two, either one that has all the information or one that only has a message. So if data.message means that there is something other than an empty string, and there is a message coming with the data, and this is not found when you have the successful data, only when you don't have data, like there is no zip code or the zip code is wrong. So if data.message do that, what you will do like this. The const info will be different. The const info actually will be equal data dot message, like that. And we will also return this info. So yes, everything is clear now. Else, if this is not it, then const info will equal these impressive API data, and also here we will return the info. Now I guess we have finished, but I don't know what is the problem with the commas and these things. Yeah, so yes, the thing that is I was missing is the catch. You have to catch the error and everything will be fine. Now we can move on. So now I have an info, a queued data that will be sent to the server. If I want to make sure that I am fine and that I am working in the right steps, so I have to put a console.log here for the info, and I have to put another console.log here before returning the info, like this. So everything is working fine. This is the console.log of the first data that is coming from the get data, and this one is the one that we have queued. So now we have all the data that we need to send to the server. Well, now, so all I have to do is to get back here and getting the function, making the function here that will take this data that is coming, which is called info. So let's make it info. By the way, we can put any parameter here after that for the then, and it will, in any case, it will refer to whatever data that is coming from the promise that you have derived this then from. So if you follow it a promise with a then, whatever the data that is coming from this promise, it will be inside this then function, whatever the parameter you put. So in this then, I'll post the data. The nice dog has came back again. So post data info. Okay, now what should we do here? It's actually, I should not put this only this parameter. I should put here a /add route and the info. Now it is a route on my local host and the application will understand this. So it will go and put the info. I want a function now to put the info inside this one, and when I do that, I'll be able to update the endpoint. Where is the endpoint? Here it is. I'll update the project data and I will put in it the info, and after that I will make another route that I will fetch and get this data from. So I'll put this data inside another route here, and I'll get it or retrieve the data from. Let's do not race the events, just like wait and see what will happen now. So as I said, I need to post the data, so I'll make a new function here, function, and as we said, it will be an asynchronous function. It will take what? It will take parameters for these data. So the add, route, and the info. So now here I should put a URL, which is the default will be empty string unless we put some data in it, and in our case we will put some data in it, which is the /add, and the other parameter will be the data, and it will be also empty object in case we did not put anything in it. Now let's see how we will behave with our post data. So all what we want to do now is to try and still catch, because I forget this, so I'll put it here. Yes, so now we have get rid of the catch thing. Let's go now about the try. What will we try? We will try to fetch the information that is supposed to posted in the server. So const maybe data, because it will be fetched, and we will fetch it to a URL, but in this time we will give the fetch some and you will open an object and we'll give it some options. Why we will do that? Because this fetch this time is not a default get fetch. We want it to be a post fetch. Sorry. Why that? Because we are posting data to the server. We are not getting data from the server. We are giving data to the server to keep it, or whatever we will do with it. Maybe just like when you make a form and you want to send the information in the form, like when you are registering a Facebook user or something, you are registering him in the database. You are keeping his or saving his name and password and everything in the database. So you want to post the data, but of course this is not the way you're gonna post anything. This is just the way for you if you just like the postman or something that you are posting manually. All what you have to do is, if you are just like having a form, is to make the form action post, and you will handle everything else from the server. But here we will post from the app.js. So the method is post, and the credentials will be same origin. This means that we are telling the server that we are just like posting data coming from the same origin. We are not posting data coming from a cross origin, an external origin. Now the headers for this, I'll say that content type application slash JSON. So we are telling it that the content type is application slash JSON. There is something wrong here actually. I don't know what it is. Yes, I think the content type should not be written like this. It's content type like this, yes. And now the body, I want him to stringify the body. So I'll say JSON.stringify body. I feel like I'm not doing anything. The tapin is doing everything for me. And of course the dog is explaining also. So whatever. Now if this happened and it's successful and everything, I'll actually try to return back the data that is coming before the catch happen here. And now I'm gonna go to the post to the server, and I'm gonna receive the post here. So I want to make a post route, and in this post route I'll put the add URL that we have already sent the data to. Now I want to receive this data here, so I'll say const body will equal request dot body, but I forgot to make something very important, which is async. This function should be an asynchronous function because I have to wait the fetch to happen and the data is posted. And also here I have to make the body await to request the body because the request will take time and it will happen as a promise. So now I am getting the body, and what will I do with this data? We agreed that we have here an object that we want to keep the data in order to retrieve it again from the server. This is how Udacity logic is working here in this exercise. So we will say that project data, but I guess I put const. No, it's not const because this project data may change while you are opening the server. You will change it many times because you will not refresh the server every time you will make a request. You will write a zip code and then you will delete it and write another one. So whenever you do that, we don't want it to be a const because it will never change if it's a const. So we make it let. So here the project data will equal the body. By this we have got everything working, and now I want to console.log, and this console will appear here because this is the server. I want to console.log the project data. If there is a project data, then it will appear in the terminal. And now I want to also send the data because this is the way we will just like fulfill the post or something like that. We can say also rest.status 200 dot end. So by this way the status gives us a number of the code, which is the one that we have seen in the coming response, and it's response.status. If it's 200 means it's correct. If it's 400 or something, then there is an error. Let's see what is happening here. So if I said for like that, cannot access data before initialization. Sorry, what did that mean? Cannot handle data before initialization. So where is this mistake? Console.log error. So there is an error here in the post data. Alright. So let's go back, and I have something just like so I guess there is one thing that is bad here is that I am giving this const the same name of the data that is coming from the parameter, and this I guess is wrong. So I will retrieve the result, not the data itself that is here, because yes, it is not initialized yet because he is trying to get this. No, I have to get the result that is coming from the fetch. So this was a mistake that needed to be studied. Now we have rerun the server. Let's get back again here. And yes, everything here is working. What about the server? It got me an empty object. This is great. Why do you think it got me something like that? So actually I found a mistake. The mistake was here. I wrote the content type in the wrong form. So I supposed to write it like this. Content type. I guess like that everything will work fine. Let's see the result again. Aha. So yes, so the headers was written in a wrong way. Now I have the result is coming back and it's fine, and even in the server it is okay and it is working. So here the console for the project data is right, and now we have a project data with this information inside it. Now let's continue to see what else is needed here. We need here to retrieve this data again from the server and update the DOM with the info that is coming to us. This is what is needed in the logic of Udacity. So now dot then, after we posted the data, we should retrieve it. So dot then we get a data, and what should we do with this data? We should retrieve it. So we will write another function that I will call retrieve data. How will this function work? It's actually a get function. I'm asking the server to get me some information. What information that I want the server to give me? It's like this. So I guess I will retrieve the data from another route. It's just like you have sent it to a route which is called add, and this is just like the RESTful API's idea, that when you have a route called add and you add some data to this, just like a new campground, a new user, you add it to /add, but the user don't, or the client doesn't see this. It happens in the back end. So you post the data to /add, and then you redirect the user to another page in which you have collected the data of the user, and you retrieving it in another form to him. Just like when a user say, I want my account, I want to see my profile, you take the user sign in username and password and you redirect him to another route, a totally another route. So how you call this route? You send data to that route inside the server. So we want to retrieve the data that we posted in the /add from another server. What is this other server? So const here, I'm forgetting the const. Retrieve data will equal, yeah, asynchronous data, but as we said before, it is like a get route. So we should not write it like this. We should write like it will call a route called all, and yes, it will not take data. It will just call the So we don't need even this data. We just need to imply or apply the promise. And even if I deleted this one, it will not affect anything because I don't need anything from the information that is coming from here. This time I will get data from the all route. So now we will get here, and this will take a URL. And what it will do with this URL, let's see. So we will say const data will equal fetch the URL, and after you fetch the URL, try const result or response, whatever, await the data.json that is coming, console.log the data.json on the response, and return the response. And now for the catch error, console.log error. Now let's go to the server and see what is the all route that we will get the data from. We agreed that we have sent data and we made this constant project data. We have made it and we have hold some data in it, which is the data that we need to manipulate and update the DOM. Now let's get the route that is called all here. Let's put in it some information. Yes, it has a request and response. Yes, so what we will put in it, we will say response dot send what? Send the project data. So that's all. This is the way we have set up the route. The route now will go and see what are the project.data and we'll send it here. So when we say app.get/all, or like here fetch this one, all what it will send to us when we fetch it this. So we are asking the route, when you have an HTTP request to you, please send this information. So let's go back here and see everything working clearly. Yes, so we are asking the URL to be fetched and try the response data.json and everything, and we will console.log the response even. But I want to do a nice thing to make things clearer. I want to delete these consoles because we have already tested these places in our app, so we don't need it anymore. I didn't remove I didn't remove it, so we don't need this one too. Now if there is a response, it will appear and it will be the only one, I guess. So 4.111. Yes, so this is the response. So I guess everything is working. Here it is also. So we are getting data from this /all, and it is the same data that we have posted in the /add. I want to delete this from here because now I think there is nothing wrong, don't worry. But I guess to really test the server, we should put the console.log here for the project data to know if we already called for it or not, because we have changed it here. So I want to make sure that I have reached to this call, and I will show you now a way we can do that from here and know where we are exactly. Okay, so we have the data here. Yes, we have the data here too. So now we are actually getting this data from two places in the server. The first place is in the add, so if we removed it, we will only have one place left, which is here, so everything is working, and the slash all is getting the data that we need. Now only one step is left, which is to update the DOM with the information we have. We want to update these things in order to put something here and give it to the user or the client when he press on the generate button. So to do that, we will write the last promise, which will get the data, and will make a function that I will call update UI. So update the UI will take the data and will do something with it. I'll say const update UI asynchronous function. It will take a parameter called data or whatever, and now const, no const here. I think we can say const response await data.json, yes, like this, to make to stringify the data and make it a string. And now, which is actually now the info, not the primary data that came from the API. Before I do anything, we can make a console.log for the response. This is very important thing, and we will remove this one just to make sure we are running on the right track. Data.json is not a function. Yeah, so let's see what happened wrong. Alright, so I made just a little mistake. The data that is coming here is not actually a data. It doesn't need to be a data.json, because this data that is coming from the retrieved data are actually just like a pure data. It's coming from the server. It's not going to the server to be JSON. No, it's coming from the server. It's just an object, this object. So it's just like an object, so we don't need to make it like a JSON file or something. All we will say here is const result or response will equal data, but after awaiting it, after the other promises fulfill, it will come and we will await it, and the response will be it. Now let's console.log the response to see that everything is going fine. Yes, we are getting the data. What if I send this? We are getting the city not found, and also we are getting this, and I don't know why. In app.js 98. So guys, I had just like a little mistake here. Let's get back the mistake. Yes, I was returning something called info. That's why when I make the zip code in a different or in a wrong way, it actually it doesn't appear, because I was returning info. Where is the info? There is no info here, but it may be sensible to make it here because it's coming from the object that I have formed from the data. But here, no, there is no info, so I should have just like returned the data.message, just like when I did here. I will return the data, and if data.message, yes, I return the data.message. If not, it will be an object called info, and I will send the object, all of it. Now let's work with the server to see. Like this, it will get the data. Like this, a wrong zip code, it will give me city not found, and here, fuck, what is this? So the problem was in the data here. I should not say data.message. I guess there is something wrong with it. I don't know exactly what is wrong, but however, if there is data and the data has an attribute called message, then return me the data, but if not, return me an info. This is in the current secure data. Now in the update, I think everything should work fine and the server should be the project data, whatever it is. So let's find that again. So now it is giving me the object here and it is giving me the object here. What if I put the wrong zip code? Yes, it is giving me city not found. This in 39 here, console.log data.message, and at the same time it's giving me in the 98 the object itself, and even here, yes, the project data is updated with the message. Now I will just like try to manipulate the DOM now. So I will go to the date, and the date is actually already an ID of date, so I will change the ID of date to date now. This way I'll come here and I will make another const which is called date now, and it will be a document that query selector date now. Alright, we will go back here and we will say date will equal response date dot inner HTML will equal response dot date, because there is but before we should actually say if or try. No, it will be F because this is better. If response dot date, because if it's wrong it will not have a date, it would only have a message. If response dot date, make all of these changes. Date dot inner HTML will equal response dot date, and what else? The temperature, yes. So temp will equal temp.inner HTML again will equal response dot temp. Now what else? Edit the content, or I make it filling, right? Filling. They actually put it with content, but whatever. So feelings, and it is a class 1, right? Yeah, it is a class 1, which I have named it with a singular. You remember? I put it with a singular thing, and it is an element here. So it's singular, not the plural one. The plural one is for the input, not the output. Response dot feeling or feelings. Let's see. Feelings. So I'll make it feelings here. Feeling dot inner HTML. Yes, like that. The temperature, the feelings, the date. Now I am making the DOM updated with this information. Let's get back and see if we can do that. We forgot the in case it's not having a date, because always it will have a date because this is a constant and it's not getting back or retrieved from something we input. It is actually constant and it will always get back unless there is an error. So else, just give me, I'll make an error here, something to receive the error. So another div, and it will be called error, in which I will put the error. So else document query selector error dot inner HTML will equal response dot message, because there will be a message that is coming back. I want this message to appear. Let's see now if we are working on the right directory, on the right thing. There is actually something missing. I will show it to you. Yeah, we have the temperature. Wow, where are the rest? There is no feelings because I didn't put the feelings. So if that is the case, I can make something here. If there is response.feelings, then put the response.feelings, and if there is not, I will insist to have them. So what do you feel? Like that. And for the date, I guess there is something wrong with the date. Yeah, it is date now. Sorry. So it will be date now. Now let's see. So it's Wednesday, January 19, 2022, and the temperature is 34. And what do you feel? You didn't tell me. So if I said I feel bad, it will gonna rewrite the information again, and I will say the I feel bad. What if we have something wrong? Now you will notice something. City not found, but we still have these information. So we want to say that in case there is an error or something like that, we want every time to refresh and cancel. I mean to hide, maybe, yes, hide all the information. So this div is called outputs and this div is called error. And each time I will show the response. In case there is a response.date, I want to get this error to be hidden. So document query selector error and please dot style dot display will equal none. So I will hide it, and the same thing will go here, but for instead of the error it will be for the thing with the class outputs. So it will be dot outputs dot style dot display none. And each time if this happen, the error will display none. If this happen, this will display none. So I guess by this way we are making it so quick. Yes, and what if it is wrong? It is not found, but there is something bad here. This is strange. So yes, I forgot something. When we display none, we want to get it back again if something else happened. So yes, it's true that I have made it here none, but what if I want it to appear again? There is no order to make it appear again. So I'll make it block again, and I'll hide this one, but I'll make this order before this one. So hide this to me, please, or display it none, don't display it, and come on, go on and display again the error. And at the same time I'll make the same thing here, but not for for this one, so like this. So please, whenever you try to response.data, please display block of the outputs and start making them like this and hide the error. So I guess this error should be hidden. No, it's okay because it's at the end, so it will not affect anything. So let's go back, because I saw that there is a problem with the server, but it turned up that there is nothing with the server. So like this, yes, everything is appearing. What if I make the wrong data? Yes, city not found. What if I made like this? Nothing to geocode. And what if I get back again? Hooray! We have finished the application. Everything is running, everything is good. Now you can put whatever front end design or style you want for this. Thank you for watching. I know this was a very long and boring lecture, but however, I'm trying to improve. These are my first steps onto YouTube. I'm not used to code in front of YouTube, but I challenged myself to do that, and I hope you find this well enough. I just want to show you my project just like so quick, because actually the feedback on my project was astonishing. So if you want to see it, it meets the specification, and all the words about it are very very good. There is nothing at all the stars and everything, there is nothing bad with it. And I tried to find any comments that were negative, but I didn't find. Everything is awesome, awesome, awesome. And even the server, it's actually awesome. So thank you everyone. I hope you enjoyed this, or if you didn't enjoy, I hope I get you any benefit. And thanks a lot for watching.